Welcome back to the Pit Stop Ranch. This video, we are going back to the Long Beach Performance Swap Meet, and gonna shoot things a little different this time. Try a little change it up for you. Trying to do a little deeper dive on the cars, what we see, what we think about them. Feel free to correct us, because we're going to ramble on aimlessly, because, you know, not enough sleep, and, you know, ramble on about what we think, not necessarily what's true. You know, it's internet, no one ever does that. We thought it was going to be a nice fresh take. And then, of course, later, we're going to talk about the stuff that we didn't buy, that we thought we would before going, that we were looking to get, versus what we actually did spend the money on that we should have spent on something else, not what we actually did. Yeah, I bet you can't guess what it is. More on that later. We are back at Long Beach Performance Swap Meet for February. We got here good and late. Chose to sleep in this time, and it's a much better turnout. It's a really nice big turnout. This is more typically what we see when we come here. Weather's absolutely gorgeous. See if we can find some cool cars. Oh, he's gone. I actually really like this car. I prefer it being the hardtop instead of the convertible. The price is pretty steep. I think I'd say I'm not actually interested in selling it price, which I get. That's kind of what I do. I'll put a way too high price on something. Bondo's starting to give out on that quarter, but I actually want a Bonneville this vintage. So I dig it. I like it. It'd be cool to have something like that. So that, again, I'm not a big convertible guy. Having had a soft top Jeep before, I don't like it, but eh. Now, this is what we call a bomb. I'm actually not 100% sure. I don't want to talk wax elegantly on the style. I like them. Always kind of a late 40s into early 50s Chevys for the most part. They're you get them finished up really pretty, and then you also got these in patina. Usually they're tail draggers. A lot of times they've got pneumatics or hydraulic suspension on them. Again, the pickups are starting to get pulled into. Traditionally it was always sedans, 49 Chevy being the big one, but and I want to say it's kind of a subset or a close cousin to the lowrider scene, and again, very much a LA car scene.
First lane,
So
all the way to the back.
I don't know. I think it's cool. I definitely think it's cool. There's another bomb right here. Now, I'm not a fan of pneumatics or hydraulics because there's another point of failure to me. I think a good, well-designed suspension, whatever ride height. Now, there's a practical reason why you would put pneumatics or hydraulics on a suspension system, because then you can get the ultra low stance, ultra low parking and cruising, but then you can lift it up and go over obstacles. So there's a practical reason for it. I'm just not a fan of relying on it, and then you go and you got a leaky line or a burnt out valve or a stuck valve or burnt out pump, and then you can't move your car. Those others are patina, but these here are just gorgeously finished. And so much love and care is put into restoring these and building them. And it's all about the accessories too. You get the grill guard and the driving lights, and that is the chrome grill, the chrome trim, and that's what really sets it apart. How you doing, man?
Yeah, you went.
Pretty good. I'm just appreciating your truck.
There you go. Yeah.
It's really nice.
There.
Forgive my ignorance. Would you call would it be considered a bomb?
Yeah. Yeah. Anything like from up to maybe 54
Okay.
is a bomb.
Okay.
Like a Bel Air,
Right,
57, those are like, they're not really bombs, but
Agreed.
they still
Okay.
fix them up like this one, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Not considered a bomb.
All right.
So anything, I would say anything under 50, 54?
54.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 30s, 40s, 50s,
Okay.
up to 64. I would say, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's considered a bomb truck. Let's say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're considered bombs.
Yeah. All right. So this would be, according to the previous gentleman we talked to, this would be considered a later bomb. Now, bombs have been a real important part of the California car scene since, well, they were new. These cars were new. I think they're a precursor of the lowrider movement. And there's just such a strong identity for them. And there's as many different versions of them as there are people who love them. But to really get it, you have to kind of understand what was happening in the post-war era. You know, right after the end of the war, everyone was had pent-up money from, you know, that they couldn't spend during the war, and new cars were a crucial element of their what they wanted to buy, because there were also no new cars. But car manufacturers basically rushed out initially with their late 30s designs, and were trying to get stuff into production, new stuff into production, because the money was there and people wanted to spend it. And it sort of created this pattern of rapidly buying and upgrading whenever the new thing came out. So a car was considered new for 6 months, a year maybe, and then after that it was just a car. So people were turning over cars like no tomorrow, well before they were worn out. And so people of limited economic means were able to pick up relatively nice stuff, and then they cherished it
Some of them just threw them away, used them up, threw them out. But then you got people wanting to have nice cars, but not necessarily being able to afford the latest, greatest. So while some people were building race cars and going hot rodding, other people were just taking clean cars and accessorizing them, fixing them up, making them look nice. They weren't doing anything with the drivetrains other than driving them. They played the stance, and just personalize them to a very high degree. So, well, hot rodding, like modern automotive aftermarket and all that other stuff, hot rodding was a big part of that. Building bombs was another part of it. Another significant portion of it. You can really tell a lot of modern aftermarket is based upon people customizing their Chevys. So you get this huge variety of really amazing late 40s, early 50s Chevys that are of a very, it's a mixtape. Some are work in progress, some are old restorations, but everyone aspires to that. Okay, so we have a later second gen Camaro. Don't know these very well, but it's like 70, 79, 78, 79, maybe 80, with an LS swap in it. Transmission, automatic. So, very much something you can drive every day. And sitting next to it is this gentleman's absolutely gorgeous. That's a goddamn, that paint job's nice. What year is it?
79.
79, okay, and that's a 79 as well?
I believe so, pretty close to it.
I know it's the same sort of tail end of the second gen run.
89, 1980, all of it.
Yeah. Oh man, just look at that paint job. Beautiful interior. You put a lot of work into this thing, man. So, now I was in high school, you saw those with a worn out small block in it in the parking lot. And then here this would be more of a Survivor, I think. 79 Z28. So you got this collection of examples of second gen Camaros, late second gen Camaros. And I definitely I like them. They've grown on me. Again, they were, imagine that body without that engine, with like I said, a low compression ratio, worn out small block, and not much to think about there. And but you're starting to see people. They kind of started with Freiburger 10 years ago, but people realizing these F bodies are these second gen F bodies have been underappreciated for a very long time. And it's kind of nice seeing people do something with them. In the populated parts of California, you have to deal with emissions laws on them because they're not smog exempt here. But anywhere else in the country where that isn't so much of a problem. You could do some pretty amazing stuff, I think, with them. There's a lot of good raw material. You still see early second gen F bodies, and they're not for terrible price, though they're getting pricey. I do like my favorite Camaro is this one. Again, I prefer the Firebird, but when they redesigned these, you know, they talked about how much European influence they put into them, and I have no idea how true that is, how much European influence they really got. But it resulted in a very striking divergence from what was there. Now, this is nice because you can see the differences, and I mean, obviously this is a work in progress, between this and the later 79. This is a 70, 71, 72, and those are 79s pretty much. So you can get the differences in design. For example, obviously no T-top, but also the rear window doesn't come all the way down, and you know, so you got less visibility, you got a bigger blind spot in these. But and I've seen people take like a 78, 79 body and then put the more aesthetically pleasing for most people, you know, 71 to 70 to 72 front on it, and come up with this homogeneous mixture that is it's an interesting combination. It's one of those things, though, you got to actually kind of be knowledgeable on you got to kind of know a little bit about them to be able to spot something like that. And, you know, again, we're always learning new things and passing it on, even if it's misinformation.
Kind of warm.
Yeah, I said it before, I'll say it again. Firebird is definitely my favorite F-body, whether it's the first or second gen. I just got the Pontiac disease as it is, but this gorgeous 67. Still got the Pontiac engine in it?
No.
No?
Stroker 383.
Okay. If you're gonna build a small block Chevy, you build a 383, right?
Seems like it.
69 Firebird. '67 Malibu Chevelle. Transformers Laker. 67 Malibu, small block Chevy. All right, this is an example of not the last GTO. I actually, unfortunately, carried the GTO name on past this example into some pretty disgustingly sad runs. Now, when I was a kid, this vintage A-body, I did not like. But I increasingly, the style has definitely increasingly grown on me. Both the Chevelle and all the other A-bodies that use this this style. So obviously this one's is still I don't know, it's a lot like my Pontiac. It's more of a daily driver. Someone's really enjoyed. I mean, the Led Zeppelin sticker. Come on. I mean, look at that roadkill sticker. Very. So yeah, this person obviously is cut from the same cloth I am. Okay. Two-door Chevelle wagon. Obviously you got Chevelle and Malibu. Nothing chopped. Windshield doesn't look to be chopped. Maybe it is. Now, question is it an actual two-door? Because that's making me think it ain't, but maybe it is. Someone who's an expert on these. It's an actual two-door. That was a one model year only, like 64, I believe, when the A-body came out. So, and then of course, obviously, they put a ton of money into a paint job. Pretty job. But, and interior. Yeah, I think this one's, we've seen this one here before. I might have even waxed eloquently on it, but I think there was background music, so I couldn't keep it in. I actually really appreciate this because obviously it's most other people it's scrap metal, but they've actually keep it together and keep it running and driving. Now it's a 3031 Model A 5 window, missing almost all the glass. It's probably kind of cold. It has a 33 to 34 industrial grill, bent to hell. That was what they put on the pickup trucks and the trucks for those years, because it's all stamped out of one piece, solid piece of sheet metal. And we have an example of it. It's not really even a grill shell, it's a whole grill, no insert. And we have an example of that used for like a similar thing. And whereas I don't know if the owner of this considers it a rat rod or not, it would be an example of a ratty hot rod. It'd be incredible if it had a flathead in here, like a fairly stock flathead. I think that would like really finish it out perfectly. It's on Model A rails. And it looks like those are taffy pulled Model A drops axle with juice brakes, 3940 juice brakes. You need to, it's in it, no, it doesn't even have, it's not even a split wishbone. We got one exhaust pipe over here, and we got another one over here. Oh yeah, we do, okay. So, we got, oh, it is a flathead. It's a 24 stud flathead. So, can't really see in there very well. Unsplit wishbone. You know, I approve. I think that's I think it's cool. It'd be even cooler if you daily drove this, like actually drove it to work and stuff. I don't know how impractical that is, because looking at it, it is pretty cold. But Very nice.
He's asking 20, do it for 18.
There you go. Recently on Iron Trap Garage, Matt went through the different style of drop axles, and this is an example of the earliest style of drop axles, where they actually forged. Someone heated up and bent and beat these into shape, and then they smoothed it to get the hammer marks out of it. This would be an example. This would be an example of a original Model A front axle that someone heat hammered into that shape. Now it's not as strong as one of the taffy pulled ones in some regards. I mean, the fact it's forged helps some, but the narrowing of the cross section here doesn't help. That said, I don't think they're dangerous. If you find any like this today, it's on a car, been on a car. If it was gonna break, it would have broke already. And since no one actually drives these things in anger anymore, probably nothing to worry about. Now, it's 28, 29. Actually, it's a 28. It says Model A Roadster body. Now you can tell the Model A, the 28, 29, because it has the shoulder between the side of the body and the cowl, and it has a step. So, and of course, Model A's have the gas tank up here in the cowl. The gas tank's in your lap. But now, this is kind of an example of a slightly later build, in the fact it's got the hair. This is done. So, and it's got the one-wire alternator. So this is like a 80s restoration using some original parts. You know, they've really stepped that thing back in there to fit it. Of course, 32 grill, because who doesn't run a 32 grill in your Model A? Running the 8DA with a stock style intake. It's an interesting combination because it's a lot of stock parts with some aftermarket stuff. I think it's in the time is a relatively budget build. Kind of a nice example of a kind of a traditional hot rod with some, you know, it's got the coilovers in the back. It's got a 9-inch in the, yeah, it's got a Ford 9-inch. So, all right, 2029 Model A Roadster, and it's got 28 on the license plate. So, pretty much all kitted out with every aftermarket doodad and hoo-ha period correct for long distance travel, including the PVC holder for something, probably flag. So which means this thing here probably does duty as a parade car. Now that said, it's got a aftermarket chassis underneath it of some sort, or most of it. So it only appears to be a fairly stock. Yeah, it's got a wheel, but it's like a GM column, automatic transmission, probably a small block Chevy. So we got a very exteriorly stock example versus the red hot rod we saw earlier. Underneath it is a very different animal. CD player, so this was definitely a kind of a 90s build. Interesting concept. Well, like my C10, trying to make that exterior look from the outside look stock other than a few giveaways, and then have the surprise underneath. And I think that's kind of what this person has, that was the original intent of this build back 25-30 years ago when it was done, and it has just been operated, used, and that's what it looks like. We've seen this Model A before. Very good example of a like a 90s build, except instead of the obligatory small block Chevy, it has an obligatory small block Ford, but it does also have air conditioning. Electric pusher fan. Got a 32 grill with a 2829. Now this here is definitely what's different. So it's got the one electric fan up front, pusher fan, and that's it. Doesn't. So, but looking at it, a lot of the design decisions on it about making it something you could actually probably drive. It does have the Pep Boy special dress-up kit on it from the 90s, but obviously with an eye to make it useful, and then attempts to dress up something. It's a 4-barrel intake, but it's a throttle body injection, looks like. So like an early throttle body injection kit from the 90s. So, obviously the paint's seen better days. It's a bit faded. Someone's kind of sort of started bringing it back to life, fixing up little areas where it had some damage. I think the price is a little bit high, but you guys tell me for what it is. C4 probably. All right, got a Model A pickup. With an 8BA flathead. Aftermarket intake. From back in the day, before you couldn't drink and drive.
¿Lo quieres ver aquí esto?
In the early 80s, these were the #1 selling car in the United States. GM wishes their total sales of all their vehicles equal what this one model sold in 1982. Now this is a little bit later than like an 82, but it's still the G-body. See if we've got the date, the year on this thing. No, we do not have the date, but the Oldsmobile Cutlass was the #1 selling car for the first half of the 80s, specifically the G-body.
Now, they kind of petered off pretty quickly after they went to the front-wheel drive versions of it, and they started putting the Cutlass name on everything Oldsmobile made, and you had to be, you know, rocket scientist to keep track of which one's actually the G-body, Cutlass Supreme or whatever it was.
Roll.
So these were the fastest production car in the 80s, unofficial, because you know, domestically produced. There's some, you know, super high-end stuff in Europe. I think it might have been faster, but unofficially these were faster than the Corvettes, and they were a luxury car. They just look so mean. They're so gorgeous. Now you had a little more civilized, less aggressive, less mean looking, less Darth Vader appearing sister to the Grand National, the Buick T-Type, which is basically a very similar car, but not, doesn't have the cachet that the Grand National does. I do love these cars. That interior's in great shape. Got to be a quality after reproduction. Okay, this is actually an example of the earlier. I just showed you a later example of the Oldsmobile Cutlass. This is the earlier version, so early 80s. This was really the one that really sold. And this is the 442 package on it, which actually did mean something with these cars. So not quite as evil looking as the Grand National, but definitely an exceptional car. And you can see here the why it would be such a popular car if you've got taste. Not quite as luxuriously appointed as the Grand National, but still a very comfortable car, and still got a hell of a stance. So where that was probably an 86 and maybe an 87, this is like an 80, 83, 84, 85. So yeah, if I lived someplace where I didn't have to worry about smog and something like this, I would probably have a bunch of them. And so there for a hot minute, we picked up this gauge block set for our little amateur machine shop area we're slowly putting together. And there for all of, 2 minutes, there existed the very small, slim possibility that this was all we were going to walk out of the show with. But of course, we couldn't have that. Okay, so before heading down to Long Beach, one of the things we're thinking was Corvair over here, which is running, registered, insured, ready to go, but we're hesitant to actually take it anywhere because, well, the tires are the sketchiest thing on the car, which is saying something. And last time we were at Long Beach a month ago, a gentleman was there selling the correct size, vintage style tires for the car. So we
assumed we were going to be buying tires and tubes from him. And then seeing if we can find someone around here silly enough to install them for us. Instead, we bought this. You see, we had so much fun with the T-Bucket race car that we've been sort of looking for, I guess, a T-project, and one followed us home. So, and not from lack of trying to convince ourselves not to get it, we went ahead and picked this up. Now, the gentleman who we picked this up from, tossed in a lot of good goodies that, added up to about what he was asking. And then we talked him down a little bit from there. Not enough, to come to find out. He would have been willing to go probably a couple $100 even cheaper than we paid, and we didn't pay much. But comes with Model A chassis. That's actually in really good shape. It's much better shape than the other Model A chassis we got. Came with I think a 48 Ford Banjo style rear end. Juice brakes, it's free, it rotates. And then tossed in random sheet metal, frame parts, tires that, will hold air as long as you got an inner tube in them. Radius arms. So, yeah. We got this. Of course, this is a 23 or so. Those of you who know Model Ts, let us know how wrong we are. Phaeton, crew cab roadster. And sheet metal for something. And so we are trying to decide exactly what we're going to do with it. We could build this thing out, like I said, as a crew cab roadster, or much like what won Amber this year, though nothing at all, because that was a Brooksville body 32 Phaeton, and this is the rusted out original Model T. Yeah, you get the idea. Or we've already got a turtle deck, so if we were to say take from here to here, take this, basically mount it up there, kind of re-sculpt it a little bit, maybe we'll have to narrow the back a little bit, take a strip out to narrow it, and then have the turtle deck on it with the swoopiness. I mean, it'll clearly not be a roadster. It'll definitely, obviously be not a roadster, but it'll have roadster-like arrangements. That might be cool with the turtle deck. So, in the comments below, what would you do with this T-body? Assuming, of course, it wasn't a case it was abandoned on your property and you're just going to scrap it. But what would you do? Leave a comment down below. Tell us exactly what you would do with this. Oh, that was our adventure down at Long Beach. That is the treasures we couldn't live without. And our suspicions there might be some mental illness going on. But we're having fun, we don't care. So we're gonna keep going. Of course now, the big challenge is, where the hell are we gonna store this? Imagine we're just gonna have to put a stack it up. You know, PhD, pile high and deep. Hopefully we won't need the stuff on the bottom before we get to the stuff on top. Well, that's future Pit Stop Ranch problems. Today, our problem is just where we can stack this stuff up. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Until next time, have a tea-tastic day.